CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. London police announced multiple arrests today through a multi-day investigation near Western University. They say 4 suspects face charges accused of possessing illegal explosives connected to an on-campus arrest from the weekend. Rita Ismail reports.
London police say the investigation began just before 2 a.m. Saturday when a trespasser was arrested at one of the Western University's engineering buildings. During that arrest, officers seized a loaded handgun. Police later determined a second suspect was involved in the trespassing incident and tracked that person to this home on Chesham Avenue where they were arrested. Further investigation led officers to what they describe as an alarming discovery inside the residence.
Some concerns about chemicals that have been stored that potentially could be used for explosives, and so therefore the response that you see behind us is meant to facilitate the safe search and seizure of evidence and disposal of what we found in the residence.
2 additional people connected to the home were also arrested. Explosives disposal unit technicians were called in to assess the risk, and police secured the residence, which has remained under guard since Saturday morning.
For the first couple of days, they told us there was no danger to the public, and today some of my neighbors have been evicted or told that they were in the blast zone and they should leave the neighborhood for a couple of days. So it's kind of a turnaround from the original assessment.
In total, 4 people are facing multiple charges, including firearm-related offenses, break and enter, and the unlawful possession of explosives. Police say all 4 remain in custody. The major crime section is continuing the investigation, and officers are expected to remain in the area for an undetermined amount of time as specialized crews work to safely remove the chemicals from the home.
The operation that you see behind us and the equipment that you see is all these specialized officers and specialities that are required to properly search the residence, handle what's found, seize the evidence, and properly dispose of it.
Rita Ismail, CTV News.
At City Hall, the Planning Committee has supported creating a new cemetery in South London despite concerns raised in a staff report.
I think this is a very low impact use, and the zoning is already there.
London's Catholic Diocese had applied to rezone 16 hectares on Wellington Road near Regina Mundi High School. City staff recommended against the application because the project would destroy prime agricultural land. Councillors supported the plan, though, because the rural location is already zoned for future development into a community facility.
I think actually it's preferable to be outside the urban growth boundary. It's space that's currently that's not going to be used. It's zoned right now for a community facility, which would be like a school or a church of some sort.
Housing starts hit a multi-year low in the London region last year. According to the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, there was a nearly 60% decrease in construction starts in December 2025 compared to 2024. There was a 26% decline for the whole year, one of the lowest rates in the last decade.
There's just so much uncertainty that people have been holding off, and we're also seeing that as a result of some of the stuff that government has been doing as well. So on a very positive side, we've seen the federal government look at additional reductions. So first-time homebuyers rebate on GST, but they announced that last May, and it's still not law yet. So people hear those things, and they're waiting.
According to CMHC officials, despite a slow year for home sales, rental unit construction was trending up. Well, it's a time of year when many start thinking about winter escapes. However, the choice in destinations seems to be evolving compared to recent years. Sean Irvin has more on the factors.
For some Londoners, the decision to travel is based on a major milestone. For this couple, it is an anniversary.
We're coming up on 20 years.
For others, the move to book a vacation comes down to the cold weather or the need to take a break from family and work commitments.
Money is a factor, but it doesn't seem like it's a huge factor.
The top destination for Londoners looking for fun in the sun this year is
Cancun or anywhere in the Mayan Riviera. You know, Los Cabos is up a little bit.
But it remains clear where many of us are not going. Now, it is no surprise to any of us that travel to U.S. destinations has fallen, but the actual percentage that's dropped at this location might indeed shock you.
About 85%.
That's huge.
Yeah, it is.
Murray says bookings across the board are down substantially from just 2 years ago, especially to the Sunshine State.
I've booked literally 2 flights this winter to Florida.
Murray says political tensions are a reason travelers give for avoiding the U.S. Meanwhile, despite concerns about food choices, politics, and rolling power outages, travel to Cuba is on the rise, in part due to pricing and direct flights from London.
There are way more people that are going to Cuba this year than have in the last 2 or 3.
With all-inclusive packages at 4.5-star resorts in Cuba priced at $2,500 per couple, Murray says some are opting to travel for the first time. After all, destination and price still top politics on a travel wish list.
Politically, it doesn't matter to me. It's more about the destination, what the resort offers, or the area.
In London, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
Residents in a Lake Huron shoreline community say changes implemented by the local conservation authority have impacted their ability to get property insurance and affected their mortgage renewals. Conservation officials say the changes are necessary because of the risks Mother Nature poses in the future. With more on the dispute, here's Scott Miller.
Michael Bayer lives right along the shores of Lake Huron in Point Clark. He loves his 4-season home, but doesn't love the changes he and others in Point Clark are experiencing thanks to the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority.
Now we are being denied insurance, mortgage renewals, and also we are having our properties devalued.
In 2023, new floodplain mapping in Point Clark brought Bayer and other properties under Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority jurisdiction, which means increased regulations for home improvements and construction projects in order to prevent flooding and property damage. Just a year later, the province mandated a 15-meter allowance around dynamic beaches across Ontario, regulating development in those areas. Bayer shoreline property falls within both of these new regulations. Regulations he says he wasn't told about until they were already in effect, and he's not happy about it.
I get mad when I spent $60,000, $70,000 15 years ago to remediate the thing, make sure I was out of their dynamic beach zone, and now all of a sudden, it's not good enough.
Bayer has a petition with 800 signatures opposing the changes to floodplain and shoreline mapping in the Point Clark area. Matt Armstrong is the manager of environmental planning and regulations at the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority. He says while he understands resident concerns, they're simply trying to prevent loss of property and possibly life due to flooding and erosion.
Without these regulations in place, people will build wherever that they feel like they can or they want. And these are areas that we've learned over time can be very much unsafe for development.
Bayer says decades have gone by with no massive floods in Point Clark, making the new regulated areas overkill. Armstrong disagrees.
And we don't regulate about what happened in the last 10, 20, 30 years, right? We regulate what could happen in the future.
I think they need to regain the trust of the property owners, because right now the property owners don't want to have anything to do with them.
In Point Clark, Scott Miller, CTV News.
There are reports out of the U.S. that Mark Carney walked back some of his remarks from his highly regarded speech to the World Economic Forum last week in a phone conversation with Donald Trump. As Mike LeCouture reports, today the Prime Minister stood by his address to international leaders.
I meant what I said in Davos.
Prime Minister Mark Carney stood by his speech during a phone call with U.S. President Donald Trump. The 30-minute conversation covered Arctic security, Venezuela, and Canada's agreement with China.
I explained to him what we're doing, 12 new deals on 4 continents in 6 months. He was impressed. And that what we intend to do going forward, as well as the opportunity to of course, move forward on CUSMA.
Let's talk about the Prime Minister, or if you prefer, Governor of Canada.
12 hours earlier, the U.S. Treasury Secretary says he was on that call and characterized the conversation differently.
He spoke to Prime Minister Carney, who was very aggressively walking back some of the unfortunate remarks he made at Davos.
Asked specifically about that.
So you didn't walk back your comments?
No. But there was no public readout of the conversation between Trump and Carney, something the Conservatives are criticizing. Michael Chong wrote on social media, "It is unacceptable that Canadians and journalists learned of this recent call from American media." Besson's comments come days after Trump threatened to impose 100% tariffs on Canada if the government signs a free trade agreement with China, something Carney says he's not pursuing. Political analysts believe the current strategy is to keep calm.
Trump is going to make noise. He's going to flash. He's going to swear. He's going to stamp his feet. Just take a breath, take a moment. Chances are the storm will pass, and it has.
The Prime Minister says he reiterated in his conversation with the President that Canada is responding to the change in U.S. trade policy by building new partnerships abroad, including with China. And Carney says Trump understood that. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
A St. Thomas family say they've been overwhelmed by support after issuing a call on social media for a potential liver donor. With more on their hope for a match, here's Brent Lale.
12-year-old Lily Wag is at Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto. After a number of tests, doctors determined
her liver is no longer able to sustain life. So transplant was and is needed.
The St. Thomas family has spent this entire month at the hospital as they wait for a liver donor. A recent social media call for help went viral.
At this time, they don't need any more applications because they're the astonishing amount of turnout. They've actually stopped counting the amount of applications for Lily. The drawback to that is that they only process one potential candidate at a time.
The applicant screening process includes CT scans, MRIs, blood work, and x-rays, so that takes time. When it comes to liver donation, they are told their best chance is a live donor.
The donor would be potentially able to give a piece of their liver instead of obviously the whole thing. The liver will, within 6 to 8 weeks, potentially, hopefully, regrow back to the original size for the donor and for the recipient.
And there's always the option of a deceased donor, and then that comes with we would get the whole liver.
While they wait, the family is living at Ronald McDonald House.
Kids go to school down here as well at Ronald McDonald House. We're definitely very thankful to be able to do this as a family and not separate, being obviously living 2.5 hours away, so we can tackle this as a family.
Doctors are doing their best to keep her as stable as possible, but
she's very sick. There's not months and months and months that she can wait, and unfortunately at any time she could decline.
In the short term, they can only wait, monitor her levels, and hope and pray there's a donor ready to go through a 6 to 8 hour surgery.
We just have to hope and pray that we're able to find something before her body decides that it's had enough.
Brent Lale, CTV News.
A landmark in Chatham, Kent has earned international recognition. The Buxton National Historic Site has been accepted into the American Underground Railroad Network to Freedom. With more on what that recognition means, here's Chris Campbell.
This is one of our oldest items that we have in the museum here.
For generations, Buxton's story has been passed down through families, artifacts, and oral history. Now that history is getting international attention.
We're very excited, very proud to be listed on this U.S. Park Service, and it's an amazing feeling because we, as a Canadian site, especially a Black historic Canadian site, it's important, especially across North America, to be able to share our Black history with all of the things that are happening, in the U.S.
This honor confirms Buxton was more than just a stop along the Underground Railroad. It was a place where formerly enslaved people settled, owned land, built schools, and created a community.
For the many descendants, our ancestors that worked so hard and so tirelessly to create this community, and for us to be have this honor bestowed on us, I think is extremely amazing.
To be accepted into the Network to Freedom, sites must prove a verifiable connection to the Underground Railroad, a pre-pandemic process that took more than 5 years of research and documentation.
It's a lot of time, it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of effort, but it was definitely worth it to be named one of those sites on their site as well.
Here in Chatham, Kent, Buxton's designation is seen as a powerful affirmation of the importance of preserving Black history.
You can't erase history. As much as people want to, take that on, especially in the United States.
Buxton now joins an international network of nearly 800 sites across 41 U.S. states and the Caribbean.
It's big. It's great because it puts Buxton and Chatham-Kent on the map and really in that competition of the world places that you want to visit. And what I love about it is that they've worked so hard to get this designation.
Chris Campbell, CTV News.
Still ahead, social media giants on trial. The U.S. lawsuit accusing major platforms of getting kids harmfully addicted. Canada's main stock index clawed its way to a tiny increase today, a modest 3 points. In New York, the Dow lost 409, the Nasdaq added 216. The Canadian dollar gained almost half a cent. On commodity markets, gold was up just slightly, while oil climbed $1.76 a barrel. A new video recording has emerged showing the moments around a fatal ICE agent shooting in Minneapolis, the second in a matter of weeks, killing an American citizen. As Joy Malvin reports, these latest developments are prompting change from the White House.
The U.S. president in Iowa to talk about the economy, but grappling with the fallout over the killing of 37-year-old Alex Preddy by federal agents, telling Fox News,
"We're going to de-escalate a little bit."
The president is facing political backlash even from his own party. They're horrified over violent immigration enforcement tactics in Minneapolis. The president reshuffling the leaders of his immigration crackdown. Controversial Border Patrol Commander Greg Bavino is out. Border czar Tom Homan is now in Minneapolis taking charge and meeting with state officials to ease tensions.
We're doing a big investigation. I want to see the investigation. I'm going to be watching over it. I want a very honorable and honest investigation.
What do we want? When do we want it? Now.
There's still anger and outrage on the streets. New video shows Preddy recording ICE officers he's tackled. One of the officers removes the gun. Preddy had a license to carry one, and then 10 shots are heard. A Homeland Security report now says that Preddy was shot by 2 federal officers.
I don't like that he had a gun. I don't like that he had 2 fully loaded magazines. That's a lot of bad stuff. And despite that, I say that's a very unfortunate.
The video from many angles directly contradicts Trump's top aide, Stephen Miller, and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, who labeled Preddy a domestic terrorist just after he was killed. Lawmakers are demanding Trump fire Noem or they'll impeach her.
We should own the issue of border security and immigration, but they have destroyed that for Republicans. Something that got the president elected, they have destroyed it through their incompetence.
And Democrats are threatening to block billions in funding for ICE in a budget bill that could lead to a partial shutdown this week. Joy Malvin, CTV News, Washington.
Good evening. Frigid wind chills overnight, feeling close to a -30, and that's where we'll start the day tomorrow. If you are spending an extended period of time outdoors, you need to layer up and bundle up. With wind chills close to -30, exposed skin can freeze in minutes. So please be careful if you are exercising outdoors or spending lots of time with your pets outdoors. Thanks, Linda, for this photo of a bear covered in snowfall, I think ready to come in at this point. In terms of our morning forecast, if you are heading out for a walk, clear conditions to start your day with a bit of sunshine to kick it off. Risk for flurries continues in the extended forecast. I'll have your local weather coming up right after this.
Welcome back with Julie on the desk now, and it really looked like things were going to take a turn around Christmas when we started seeing grass all over London. How quickly that can change. In a matter of weeks, the snowbanks are as high as I've seen them.
Yeah, how's the shoveling going?
It's been a workout, to say the least. Yeah,
definitely a lot of people commenting on just how much shoveling. You see everyone doing it every single day. So part of many people's new exercise routine, I guess. If you're hoping for a new routine, well, you're gonna have to wait a little while. We're talking frigid temperatures, rounds of snow and blowing snow, although the flurries will be lessening as we head through the overnight. We're actually gonna see some breaks in the cloud cover. With breaks in the cloud, air mass this cold though, temperatures are gonna drop down. Forecast low tonight, -20. We didn't get very warm this afternoon either. We hit -10. Midwestern Ontario from -15 to -17, cold weather warning warnings in effect, with the wind chill overnight feeling close to a -30. That is bitterly cold. Frigid temperatures holding in the extended forecast, and we're going to be talking about the cold right through the weekend. By Sunday, we will start to see things shift a bit, and temperatures are expected to come up, but we have to get through this week. We've had rounds of flurries, blowing snow. We had a clipper system move through the area today, followed by an Arctic cold front. That has brought us a fresh wave of cold Arctic air and activating Lake Huron once again with snow squalls and blowing snow. That continued through the late afternoon into the evening, and blowing snow continues out there tonight, as well as some snow squalls in through Grey and Bruce County. We've had widespread warnings throughout the day, everything from blowing snow to the snow squalls and the extreme cold. As we head through the overnight, a persistent squalls expected to last right through the Bruce Peninsula through the overnight and into tomorrow morning. By tomorrow afternoon, I am expecting another round of light flurries. So what will happen is we'll see these troughs of low pressure move through, and every time one of these troughs comes through, it does bring colder air back into the Great Lakes, activating the lake effect flurries. So expecting that to continue, much of the same in the forecast. So really not a whole lot shifting other than this cold air. In terms of accumulating snowfall, we could see another 5 to 10 centimeters in these heavier snow bands. It's the blowing snow that's really creating some big problems on the area roads in terms of that snow coating icy conditions. So we have layers of snow, and under that we have the ice. Leave yourself lots of extra time. Go slow. We do have lots of issues on the roads, especially in those outside rural areas. Even in the city, we have a lot of those side roads that are still completely covered in ice. Temperature as we head into your Wednesday afternoon, just -12. So we are expecting a bit of sunshine through the day Wednesday and into Thursday. So just rather the chance for flurries. Daytime highs anywhere from -11 to -14. And remember, a normal daytime high for this time of year around -3. Overnight lows, -17 to -26. This could be record breaking if we get that cold heading into Friday morning. So keeping a close eye on some record breaking cold. Mix of sun and clouds Saturday and Sunday. Hello February. Monday as we head into Groundhog Day, -5. So that is a bit better. Still chilly, but we're going to bust out of that minus teens. So we'll see those wind chills start to abate just a bit. Midwestern Ontario, flurries, blowing snow and snow squalls continue. Not quite as intense through the day as we head into your Wednesday afternoon, although additional 5 centimeters expected, especially towards Grey and Bruce. And that one snow squall that's just going to hang out in the Bruce Peninsula. -11 with squalls continuing on Thursday, Friday, mix of sun and cloud, and a mix Saturday and Sunday. Calmer conditions this weekend for traveling. Good news, the winds will start to ease off, and we'll see some breaks, some nice sunny breaks, and temperatures recover as we head into early next week with daytime highs from -4 to a -5. Please travel safe out there. It's bitterly cold tonight and into tomorrow morning. And again, exposed skin can freeze in really minutes. So if you are spending time outdoors, bundle up and layer up. Carlyle, back to you.
Thanks very much, Julie. A landmark trial is getting underway in California against social media giants accused of deliberately addicting and harming teenagers. Abigail Beeman reports.
France's National Assembly votes in favor of a social media ban for children under 15. The president wants the ban in place by the next school year, posting, "Because our children's brains are not for sale." While in LA, a landmark series of trials begins with parents, teens, and school districts taking social media giants to court over addiction claims. Snapchat and TikTok reportedly settled in advance, leaving Meta, Facebook and Instagram's parent company, and YouTube.
We haven't landed on anything yet.
In Canada, the government is planning new online harm legislation after the last bill died with the Trudeau government, but no update on when or whether it will include a similar ban to France and Australia.
The objective of a new Online Harms Act would be to protect kids, first and foremost. And also there's a legitimate concern of the state protecting freedom of expression, and that is also key. So there's a balancing act.
It can be used as a very vicious tool to harass, bully, stalk, defame, hurt people.
Lawyer Ma'anit Zemel's office gets at least a call a day looking for help. She's calling for nuanced regulations that are enforceable and tailored to specific harms like cyberbullying or overuse, saying a full-out ban is not the answer.
The kids just get around it by using, whether it's VPNs or just saying they're older. And, you know, from a legal perspective here, it might be challenged for all kinds of reasons.
CTV News reached out to Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, and Meta. By deadline, only Meta responded, saying they'll comply with any regulations, but governments considering bans should be careful not to push teens towards unregulated, less safe sites. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Finally tonight, 2 men in Alberta say a product they created a decade ago has seen a sudden surge in popularity, which they credit to the hockey streaming series Heated Rivalry. With more on the renewed interest in Pride Tape, here's Nicole Lampa.
Chris Wells and Jeff McLean opened the door a decade ago, introducing hockey to rolls of rainbow-colored tape.
Pride Tape came out of a research question I had 10 years ago, was why are young gay male and bisexual boys dropping out of organized team sports at much younger ages than their heterosexual cisgender peers?
The Edmonton Oilers were the first in the NHL to support the initiative. Soon after, the rest in the league asked for roles. Then Pride Tape's makers had to stick-handle the NHL's short-lived attempt to ban it 2 years ago and briefly saw a jump in sales. Now they've scored in the international market, with orders coming in at an unprecedented level. Thanks to the worldwide success of Heated Rivalry, a fictional Canadian gay romance show about star hockey players.
We've actually been seeing sales follow the trend of where the show is going. We're seeing more tape being sold at a time, and we're seeing it more globally.
They say sales are up 40%, recently receiving 3 bulk orders from Germany and sending boxes to UK's Elite Ice Hockey League for Pride Week.
We see a lot of players using it in warm-up, and then a lot of teams will also tape the top of the goalie stick and use that in the game as well. So we're hoping to see it used a lot.
The makers of Pride Tape are also hoping to see it used in the hit show.
We're in conversation with the folks at Crave about partnerships. Who knows, maybe in season 2, Pride Tape might make its debut in an episode.
The pair also hope the mission they set out on 10 years ago doesn't go away.
Despite having Pride Tape, we still don't have an NHL athlete, player, present or even in the past that has come out.
Nicole Lampa, CTV News, Edmonton.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For all of us at CTV News London, I'm Carlyle Fiset. Have a good night.